What's up again? It's Micah. I had a request in my email after I had sent out that video of helping Larry with House of the Rising Sun. Denise wrote in and she asked me if I could do one for Fade Into You by Mazzy Star. Now this is a really good beginner song. It sounds very similar to Knocking on Heaven's Door. Well, Knocking on Heaven's Door might be a little bit easier, but chords are pretty much the same. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to tell you what chords to use, and then we're going to talk about using the capo. We're going to talk about building up the rhythm for the song, because it might be simple for a lot of people, but I think a lot of people might have a little bit difficulty with the song, maybe the directions of the picks and stuff like that. So I'm going to help you to build up your rhythm for that. And I'm also, for anybody who's a little more advanced, and this song is pretty easy for you, I'm going to show you a few things that you can do to add in to what you're doing with the chords, so that it just gives a little more, it just makes the guitar playing a little more interesting, because it can be very repetitive. And so without the rest of the band, they have that piano part and stuff like that, that makes it more interesting while the song is actually playing. But as a solo guitar player, you are the person doing that. So I think it still sounds good even if you don't do that. And but for anyone who's a little more advanced, I'll show you a few little things you can add in there. So the chords are A, E, B minor, B, and B minor again. Okay, A, E, B minor, B minor. Okay, and this is what it'll sound like. Okay, and that's pretty much the gist of the whole song. Now, if we want to make that easier, if the bar chords are tough, okay, what we can do, we can capo 2. We can capo 2 and we can play a G, a D, and then the A minor. So that's a lot more simple. Okay. Now the rhythm for the song is down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And how this count is, it's a 4 count, but it's kind of like a 3/4 kind of time. Okay. It's like a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, kind of like the waltz. And you can count it with a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and or a 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. Okay. So for you very beginner players who are just getting the hang of this thing, I always suggest start with your easiest rhythm possible, especially while you're working on the chords, working on getting your chords in time, getting to the next chord at the right time. So starting out with just a straight down on each of the beats, the numbers. Okay, so the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. Okay, downs on each of those. Just keeping it simple and maybe even humming along with it as you're doing that. First off, if you're trying to get the chords, I probably wouldn't worry about humming out, but as you're starting to get the chords, then you start humming along with it. Okay, the next thing that I would add to the rhythm, I would add in each of the 1 and 2 and so each of these two sub beats that are within this count, I would add in a down for each of those. Okay, no ups yet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, that's how we want to do it. No ups yet. Okay, and then you get, again, we're getting used to the chord changes. You're going to have to change chords a lot quicker now that you've filled in all those gaps. Okay, but get that first. Same thing if you're practicing on your open, with it open in the key of A. If you're practicing on, and I would actually encourage you to practice it both ways, especially if you're already good enough playing G, D, and A minor. Change it up a little bit. Practice it both ways because you want to be good at it. This is the deal. You want to be good enough. You want to be able to play it and perform it for people, your friends, family, or whatever. But you also want to be pushing yourself to become better, okay? So get used to playing it in a way that's easy for you, but also get used to playing it in a way that's pushing your skill a little higher. So okay, now I'm going to do the next part of the rhythm, but in just a little bit, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what you can do if you're having trouble with B minor, how you can practice getting that a little bit better, a little bit sooner. It's going to be work, but it's going to be helpful. Okay, so I'm going to come back and tell you about that. But here we go with the next part of the rhythm. So next part of the rhythm is we add in the ups that we need, okay? We don't need ups in between all of these. We just need some of the ups. Now, what we have, remember, every time we go down, our hand has to travel up in order to go down again, okay? So that up is what we're going to either strum it or we're going to skip it. Now, so just think we got 1 dot dot or 1 and okay, 1 and or we have 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. We're going to skip the first up between the 1 and we're going to add in the next 2 between the and the 2. That's kind of sounds a little silly, but it's going to sound like this: da 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 da. And one thing that I forgot to mention prior to getting to this point is when you're practicing on just the downs, a really good thing to start paying attention to is working on hitting a little bit harder or a little bit louder or a little bit more strings on the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the beat count. That you want to hit a little heavier there, especially as a guitar player, because you're helping your audience to hear the beat. Bop, 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 bop. And you're also helping yourself count subconsciously when you give it a little bit more. So if we're playing the chords, you may have already noticed it last time I did it, but I do want to clarify that. Heavier on the count, because that's going to make you sound better. It's going to make your beat a little bit more obvious. It's also going to help you keep count. And you're going to have to practice it. You're going to have to practice a little bit more than a little bit less. Bop, 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 bop. Bigger or heavier, and then lighter and smaller. Several strings and then a few strings. Okay, that's how that's done. pay attention to that. It's a really good song for that because it's easy enough to focus here. It's going to make everything else in the long run sound better for you. Okay, now here comes our ups. We're adding in our ups. So we got a down, down, up, down, up. Okay, remember we're still going heavy on that 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, if that's tough for you, first practice it without the chords. Okay, practice it for 2, 3, 5 minutes. Maybe along with the song is a good idea. Ba, ba, da, 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 da. And getting that heavy rhythm. Remember, we're building up skills. You don't have to just jump up and be able to play anything. You always want to, you're finding, all right, what's the very base level that I can do? What's the next one that I can do a little higher than that? What's the next one that I can do a little higher than that? You're building up those skills, and as you build up those skills, you're going to, it's going to be your guitar skills, not just for this song, but they're going to be useful for every song. Your rhythm is going to be better. Your chords or changes are going to be faster. Your fingers are going to work better. Everything's going to be more right. It's going to sound more dynamic when you're used to doing that. You won't have, right now you might have to think about it, but as you start getting used to that, you won't have to think about it anymore. You're going to become a better player. Everything's going to sound better. We're still coming up to the point where we're going to add in a little bit more color for those of you who are getting a little bit better. For those of you who are still having trouble, let's talk about the bar chord, okay? I'm going to assume that everybody's okay going G, D, and A minor, okay? If you're not, then I would definitely suggest going through my 90-day guitar beginner program, because you'll go through that and you won't have these problems anymore. But if you still are, then you probably haven't. Okay, now we're going to talk about getting better with your bar chords. This is what I like to do to work on your B minor. Think about an A minor, okay? You're playing an A minor. I want you to switch the fingers that most all of us play A minor with these 3 fingers, okay? Now, let's switch it to these 3 fingers, okay? So these 2, the pinky and the ring, are taking the place of the middle and the ring right there where the 2nd fret was, okay? On the 2nd fret, these 2, and then your middle finger is taking the place of your index, okay? So basically, here was your A minor, now here's your new A minor, okay? And I want you to practice sliding that up from A minor up 2 frets, which is going to be where B minor is. Okay, just practice that. You're building the strength to get you're building the strength and the muscle memory to get those fingers to stay in that pattern that they need to be in for the B minor. But you're starting out with an A minor. Sounds good when you're doing it here. When you slide it up, sounds a little crazy, but it still sounds okay actually. But it doesn't really quite sound like a B minor, but that's okay. We're not trying to play B minor here. We're trying to get your muscles more used to doing what they should do, okay? Now, what you can also practice is practice doing an A with your pinky, ring, and middle finger. So instead of here, or instead of here, like a lot of folks do play A different ways, but I'm asking you here. Now, this isn't how I normally play A, but this is a good way for you, if you're having trouble here, to get good finger exercise for helping you get more control over these 3 fingers. So playing an A like this, and then switching it to an A minor. A minor, A minor, A minor, okay? And then A minor, sliding it up. A minor, slide it up. Okay. Now what we can do here, here's our song. A. We can do our E just like we were doing our A minor with these 3 fingers. Okay. And then we shift it down, slide it up to here. And if we only play those 3 strings that we're holding down with these 3 fingers, it's going to sound like a B minor, okay? And we can get away with that. You can get away with that. Now the next thing that we would like to do is we can add our first finger here, or we can add our first finger here. There's a couple of things that you can do here. We could work on getting just this B note up here on the 5th string, getting that. After we're getting used to this, adding that B note in, or working on getting this this 1st string, okay? Maybe and getting that with this knuckle right here, okay? Now, using kind of the side of that knuckle. So we got our A minor. We're sliding it up 2 frets, and we come back and we're pushing here. We're pushing on this. We're not yet focusing here. Okay, we're leaving that one to do whatever the heck it's doing, and we're just playing right here. We're just playing those bottom 4 strings. Okay, so. And if you can get these ones there in time, you'll have a little bit of time to get that 1st finger, and then later on we can work on adding it later, adding the whole thing. But before you're working on your full bar chord, let's get these 3 fingers working a little better for you. Okay, so that's just your tip. Okay, now with that being said, here's the more advanced part. And it's not super advanced, but it'll be kind of advanced. We can put our rhythm on, our metronome on. Okay, and we have our triplets going. So if you're looking, here we go. There we go. Triplets. The three little notes. Okay, that's the one we got. So we have 2 subbeats between each beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and each of those rhythms would sound like. You can use your capo. You have a G, a D, and an A minor, an A minor. Okay. Then the next rhythm we have . Now the last rhythm, what I'll do is you may want to work to build speed with that 3rd rhythm. Okay, so you may want to slow it down. This was at 50. The last 2 I just did was at 50. You can slow it down. You know, you may want to slow it down to 40 or 35. Here's 40. Okay, so if we're going to put that rhythm, the last rhythm is going to be. Okay. So that would be, you want to practice your rhythm, always want to practice your rhythm with the metronome so you're staying in time, so you're keeping everything uniform and even and right. So when it's coming from the B minor, you can, a lot of times you can hear that piano in the background. It's kind of walking on back down. And one thing that you can do right there would be, you can lift up that minor note there and get that sus2. So okay, so you get that, and then the next one we would want to hear would be that. So that's your open B note, okay? So you're getting a in my head, what I want to hear is, so I'm hearing this. That's what I want to hear. So I'm going to make my fingers do, I lift this middle finger up, and then, so I hit that, so I did, then I lift up my bar here. I continue to hold my root note, and I continue to hold, but what I do is I lift the rest of them. So I'm only holding these two down and this one down. The rest, those other two are open. And what I might actually do in this situation would be come back to my A with my index finger. So, and then we have our B minor. So you're hearing, okay, so it's just a little walk back from those notes. So we're letting that little mini melody thing go on while we're playing our chords. Then of course you can always use our sus4 is always nice if we're just on our A. Sus4, slide that up right here to the 3rd fret before we go to our E, or A. Instead of going and sliding up here, we just lift that finger and we have that A sus2. So when we play that E, we could add in that little 6 right there. So it's a 2nd fret on the B string. So it's a C sharp or a D flat. So pinky. Okay, so those are just some ideas that you can do. The A sus4, the A sus2, the E, add that 6 in there, and then that B minor, B sus2. All of that is going to make it a little more interesting. You don't want to do all of that all the time, or else, again, it still gets repetitive. So pick and choose here and there where you want to make that sound decent. Now, with our other chords, our G, our D, and our A minor, here's some things you can do to make it sound a little more interesting too. Okay, right here we can use our D sus4. So we got G to the D, sus4 to the A minor, and then we got our A minor, then we'll add our pinky here, again giving us an A sus4. So A sus4, A minor to the A sus2, and then back to our G. Okay. There's a lot you can do with that, a whole lot. I could add something different every single time around if we wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I've just given you a couple of simple ideas. One last thing on the rhythm. Use small strokes. Don't use all your strings. That gets very loud, very monotonous, you have little room for making your rhythm interesting when you're just jamming on all your strings all the time. So use small strokes, 2 or 3, maybe 4 strings at a time, so that you have options of what that chord's going to sound like. Do you want to hear the high part of the chord? Do you want to hear the low part of the chord? Do you want to hear the middle? Okay? And then when you want that one loud stroke, you can go more strings. And then say if it was a different song and you had a chorus that got really loud, you would have more option to get louder, versus if you've been jamming the whole time on all your strings, you're already maxed out. So think about that, using fewer strings on your rhythm. Get used to moving your wrist smaller, okay? Anyways, that's all I'm going to say about this song. Unless somebody has any more questions about it, feel free to email me, write me back, comment, or whatever. If you do, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground with this video. It's getting pretty long right now, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Let me know if you got any questions. If you don't, hope you enjoyed the video. Keep them coming with if any of you have any other tunes that you need some help on. I'll be happy to help you out and give you my 2 cents on it. So, yeah, anyways, Michael Lipsmeyer with 90 Day Guitar. Hope to see you soon. Bye.